I'm Sahaana, it's the middle of the night, and lately I've been waking up with existential dread. It all started a few weeks ago when the Green Line received an email asking some pretty basic questions about renting and evictions. So I did what any chronic overthinker would do. I called everyone I know. Like everyone. Do tenants have rights?
What? Who is this?
It's a simple question, Mishka. Do tenants have rights?
Sahana, how many times have I told you not to call me at 3 a.m. anymore? I have a job.
Mom, what do you do if you get an eviction notice? What do you do if you get an eviction notice?
What is the eviction for?
After that yielded confusing results, I went to the internet. This led me to the Residential Tenancies Act, also known as the RTA.
So the Residential Tenancies Act is the governing legislation that determines the rights of tenants and the responsibilities of tenants and landlords across the province. An express purpose in the legislation is the protection of tenant rights and also a recognition of the inherent power dynamic or power imbalance between landlords and tenants. The Act has a tenant protective purpose.
That's Rosalia Thompson. She's a litigation lawyer for the Advocacy Centre for Tenants Ontario, also known as ACTO. I reached out to ACTO after stumbling on some of their tip sheets for tenants online. From ACTO, I learned just like you gotta protect your heart in the modern dating world, you gotta protect the roof over your head. Thompson explains that the RTA governs the reasons tenants can be evicted, what a tenant can do, and what the landlord obligations are. Are you covered under the RTA? If you don't know, you need to figure it out because it covers what protection a tenant has.
However, there are situations where somebody wouldn't be covered by the Residential Tenancies Act. For example, people who share a kitchen and or a bathroom with their landlord do not come within the purview of the Act. So I would say, just as a general rule, if you're living with your landlord, if there's shared space with your landlord, or if you're in cooperative housing or in a subsidized housing unit, you should get legal advice about your rights before assuming that the Residential Tenancies Act applies to you.
You're probably thinking, get to the point, Hannah. Do I have rights? Or if you're my mom, you're wondering why I'm talking so fast. Well, Mom, I'm about to start talking a lot faster. According to the City of Toronto's Handbook on Preventing Evictions, you're covered under the RTA if you are renting an apartment, a whole house, an individual room, or basement apartment. Also covered under the RTA if you're an international student, if you're a newcomer, if you're a permanent resident, if you're a Canadian citizen. Lastly, you're also covered under the RTA if you're renting a room in a multi-tenant home, either licensed or unlicensed. You're not covered under the RTA if you share a bathroom or kitchen with your landlord, rent seasonal or temporary housing, rent a home that is also a place of business, if you are living in an emergency center, a hospital, a nursing home, prison, or a student dormitory. Editing Sahana here, it's important to note that this is a general list and doesn't include all situations, so it's always important to seek legal advice. I'll be linking all the resources I've been reading in our bio in a little guide called the Totally Non-Extensive Guide to Eviction. Great, so I know my rights. And now I'm gonna take a little nap, and hopefully I won't wake up with existential dread. What if I get an eviction notice?